I'm Grace Miller. I'm 42 years old. And for 3 years, everyone in my life, my mother, my best friend, even my own doctor, believed I was losing my mind. My husband made sure of that. I was a librarian in Charleston. I helped people navigate their problems, figure out their futures, recognize when something in their lives wasn't right. The irony of that isn't lost on me now. I could see the warning signs in a 16-year-old's relationship from a mile away, but I couldn't see what was happening in my own home. Or maybe I could, and he just made me stop trusting what I saw. For 8 years, everyone told us we were relationship goals. Paul and I, the perfect couple. He was this successful corporate manager, the kind of man who wore expensive suits and commanded respect in every room he walked into. Charming, articulate, the kind of husband who brought me flowers on random Tuesdays and bragged about my career at dinner parties. People envied what we had. I thought I was lucky. I thought I had everything figured out. Then one Tuesday afternoon, my therapist asked me to roll up my sleeves. What happened in the next 60 seconds changed everything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand how I got to that moment. You need to understand how a woman who worked as a librarian for a living ended up so completely destroyed that she couldn't trust her own memory, her own mind, her own reality. Before I tell you what my therapist discovered, please hit that like button and subscribe. Drop your location and what time you're watching from in the comments. This story nearly destroyed me, but if sharing it helps even one person recognize what I couldn't see, it's worth every painful memory. And trust me, there are a lot of them now. The ones I can actually remember. Anyway, it started so slowly. I didn't notice at first. That's how these things work, right? If someone punches you in the face on the first date, you leave. But if they spend years slowly, carefully dismantling your sense of self, you don't even realize you're trapped until the cage is already locked. The shift began about 3 years ago, right after I got promoted to senior librarian at my library. It was this huge accomplishment, more responsibility, better pay, recognition for the work I'd been doing for years. I was so proud. I came home that day practically floating. And Paul congratulated me. He took me out to dinner. He smiled. But looking back now, I can see it. That smile didn't reach his eyes. Within a week, things started feeling off. It was little things at first. He'd mention I seemed stressed. I'd brush it off because, yeah, new position, more responsibility. Of course, I was a bit stressed. Then he started pointing out times I seemed confused. I'd misplace my keys and spend 20 minutes looking for them. And he'd find them in my purse where I swore I'd already checked. Honey, they were right there, he'd say with this concerned look on his face. I'd forget conversations we'd supposedly had. He'd bring up something we'd discussed the night before, and I'd have absolutely no memory of it. We talked about this, remember? You said you wanted to invite your mother for Thanksgiving, but I didn't remember. I didn't remember at all. And when I'd say that, he'd get this worried expression like I was confirming his worst fears about me. Then came the fall. Literally, I fell down our stairs one morning. I still don't know exactly what happened. One minute I was heading down to make coffee. The next I was at the bottom of the staircase with Paul hovering over me, his face full of panic and concern. My wrist was sprained, my hip bruised, my head pounding. He rushed me to the ER immediately. Wouldn't even let me argue about it. At the hospital, the doctor asked me what happened. I started to explain, but Paul jumped in. She's been really stressed lately, he said, his hand on my shoulder, protective. Working long hours, not sleeping well. She's been a bit confused, forgetting things. I've been worried about her. The doctor looked at me then, really looked at me, and I could see him making some kind of assessment. I wanted to say that wasn't true, that I was fine, but was it true? I had been forgetting things. I was confused sometimes. Have you been feeling dizzy? The doctor asked me. Any other falls or accidents? I opened my mouth to answer, but Paul spoke first. She bumped into the kitchen counter pretty hard last week. Didn't you, honey? Left a bruise on your hip. I didn't remember that. But when I lifted my shirt slightly, there was indeed a yellowish bruise on my hip. How did I not remember that? The doctor made notes, ordered some tests. Everything came back normal, but I could tell he was concerned. Not about my physical health exactly, about something else. Paul asked him if stress could cause this kind of confusion and forgetfulness. The doctor said it could, suggested I might want to talk to someone, maybe cut back on work hours. That was the first time anyone suggested something might be wrong with my mind. Paul was so supportive through all of it. So concerned, so attentive. He called my branch manager to explain I'd had a fall and might need a few days off. He called my mother to let her know what happened. He took such good care of me. And then apparently, he started making other calls, too. Calls I didn't know about. Over the next few weeks, my mother started asking me weird questions. How are you feeling, baby? Paul mentioned you've been having some difficulties. My best friend Jasmine pulled me aside after church one Sunday. Girl, Paul called me. He's really worried about you. Said you accused me of taking your good earrings. I would never. Wait, what? I never accused Jasmine of anything. I'd lost those earrings. Sure, but I never thought she took them. When I told her that, she looked confused. That's not what Paul said. He seemed really concerned. Said, you were saying things that weren't true. I called Paul right there in the church parking lot. He sounded apologetic. Baby, you did say that last Tuesday night. You were really upset about those earrings and you said you thought Jasmine took them when she was over. Don't you remember? You were having one of your confused spells. I thought Jasmine should know you didn't really mean it, that you weren't yourself when you said it. But I didn't remember saying it. I didn't remember any of that. That was when the real fear started creeping in. What else had I said or done that I couldn't remember? Paul suggested I start documenting things, keep better track of my thoughts, my activities. He said it might help me realize when I was having these episodes. He even started doing it for me, trying to be helpful. He'd make voice memos on his phone when I seemed confused. Keep notes about times I forgot things. Just so we can show the doctor, he explained. Help them understand what's been happening. It seemed like he was trying to help me. It seemed like he cared. God, I was so stupid. The memory gaps got worse. I'd lose hours sometimes. I'd be at the library, then suddenly I'd be home and couldn't remember the drive. I'd start making dinner and find pots already on the stove that I didn't remember putting there. Time started feeling slippery, unreliable, and the bruises. God, the bruises. I'd find them in the morning when I showered. On my arms, my ribs, my thighs, dark purple marks that looked fresh, but that I had no memory of getting. I'd stare at them in the mirror, trying to remember, and there'd just be nothing. Blank spaces where memories should be. Paul had explanations for all of them. Baby, you had another episode last night. You got really agitated. You were thrashing around. I tried to calm you down, but you were fighting me. You don't remember any of that? And he'd show me photos on his phone. Me looking disheveled, disoriented with fresh bruises forming on my arms. Photos I didn't remember him taking. Photos that proved his version of events. What was I supposed to believe? My missing memories or the evidence right in front of me? I started sleeping more. I was exhausted all the time. No matter how much rest I got, I'd wake up and it would feel like I hadn't slept at all. My head foggy, my limbs heavy. Some mornings I'd wake up in different clothes than I'd gone to bed in. Paul said I'd gotten up in the middle of the night to change, but I never remembered doing it. My branch manager noticed I wasn't myself. I missed an important meeting with a patron's reference request. Completely forgot it was on my calendar. When she called me into her office about it, I couldn't even explain what had happened. I don't know. I kept saying, I just forgot. I'm so sorry. She looked at me with this mixture of concern and disappointment that made me want to crawl under my desk and never come out. She suggested I take medical leave just for a few weeks. Grace, get yourself together. Figure out what's going on with your health. We can't have you forgetting appointments with patrons. These people depend on you. I called Paul crying. He came to pick me up from the library that day. Held me while I sobbed in the car. Told me it was going to be okay. We'll figure this out. He promised. Maybe you just need to focus on getting better for a while. Work can wait. Everyone agreed. I needed help. My mother, my branch manager, my best friend. Even I agreed. Something was clearly wrong with me. Paul handled everything. He called my insurance company to find therapists. He scheduled appointments. He started managing my medications because I couldn't keep track of what I was supposed to take and when. Every morning, he'd bring me pills with my coffee. This is your vitamin D, he'd say, pointing to each one. This is the supplement the doctor recommended. This is for your anxiety. I'd take them because I trusted him. Because he was taking care of me. He took such good care of me. I couldn't even tell you what I was taking. If you'd asked me to name a single medication, I couldn't have done it. Paul said it was better if he managed it. Less chance I'd miss doses or take something twice by accident. That made sense, right? I was the one with the memory problems. He was just trying to help. The days started blurring together. I'd wake up groggy, take my pills, maybe watch TV. Some days I'd sleep 14, 16 hours. Other days I couldn't sleep at all. Just felt this weird restless anxiety that made me want to crawl out of my skin. Paul would find me pacing at 3 a.m. and gently guide me back to bed. You need rest, baby. Here, take this. It'll help you sleep. And I'd take whatever he gave me because I trusted him. Because everyone said I needed help and he was helping me. The bruises kept appearing. New ones before the old ones had fully faded. My arms looked like someone had been grabbing me. My ribs were tender to touch. I found fingerprint-shaped marks on my upper arms that looked exactly like someone had gripped me hard enough to leave marks. Paul's explanation. You don't remember, But you were fighting me last night when you had an episode. I had to hold you to keep you from hurting yourself. I'm so sorry, baby. I never want to hurt you, but you were out of control. I'd look at those fingerprint bruises and try to remember being out of control. Try to remember fighting, and there'd just be nothing there. Just blank empty space where my own life should be. That's when Paul said I needed intensive therapy. Not just someone to talk to once a week. I needed real help, professional help. He found Dr. Evelyn Brooks. She specialized in trauma and had excellent reviews. He made me an appointment for twice a week. Whatever it takes to get you better, he said. I just want my wife back. I wanted me back, too. I wanted to feel like myself again. I wanted to stop losing time and finding bruises and forgetting entire conversations. I wanted to stop seeing that worried look in everyone's eyes when they talked to me. So, I went to therapy. Dr. Brooks was this elegant black woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a calm presence. Her office was warm, filled with plants and soft lighting. She had one of those faces that made you feel safe, like you could tell her anything and she wouldn't judge you. The first session, I cried through most of it. Just unloaded everything. The memory gaps, the confusion, the fear that I was losing my mind, the bruises I couldn't explain, the sense that I was disappearing from my own life. She listened to all of it, taking notes, asking gentle questions. Tell me about your support system, she said. Who's helping you through this? Paul, I said immediately. My husband. He's been amazing through all of this. I don't know what I'd do without him. She wrote something down. And what does Paul say about what you're experiencing? He's worried. He documents everything to help me understand what's happening. Shows me photos and voice memos from when I'm having episodes so I can see what he sees. More notes. And do you find that helpful? Seeing these episodes you don't remember? I thought about that. I guess. I mean, it's scary, but at least there's evidence of what's happening to me. At least I'm not just making it up. Do you feel like you might be making it up? She asked. Sometimes I don't know what's real anymore, I admitted. And it was true. I felt like I was living in this fog where nothing was solid. Nothing was certain. My own memories or lack of them couldn't be trusted. The second session. We talked about my childhood, my career, my relationship with my mother. Standard therapy stuff. Dr. Brooks was easy to talk to, and I found myself relaxing in her presence in a way I hadn't relaxed in months. The third session, she asked more about Paul, how we met, what our relationship was like, how he'd reacted to my health issues. I told her he'd been supportive, patient, that he'd taken on so much to help me, managing my medications, documenting my episodes, dealing with my family and friends when I wasn't up to it. It sounds like he's very involved in your care, she observed. He has to be. I said, I can't keep track of everything myself. I'd forget to take my medications. I'd miss appointments. He keeps me organized. And before these health issues started, did he manage things for you this way? I had to think about that. No, I guess not. I was pretty independent, managed my own schedule, my own life. But that was before I started having problems. She made a note of that but didn't comment further. Session 4 was early September. It was one of those Charleston days where the heat just sits on you like a wet blanket, suffocating and inescapable. The kind of day where you feel like you're walking through soup just trying to get from your car to a building. I showed up to Dr. Brooks's office wearing a long-sleeved turtleneck. I saw her notice it. Her eyes went to my outfit, then flicked up to my face, but she didn't say anything right away. We settled into our usual spots, me on her couch, her in her chair with her notepad. "How have you been this week?" she asked. "Okay, I guess. More of the same. Paul thinks my medications might need adjusting because I'm still having memory issues." "What medications are you taking, Grace?" I opened my mouth to answer and realized I couldn't. I don't know exactly. Paul gives them to me every morning. There's a few different pills. Some are vitamins, I think. And something for anxiety. Maybe something to help me sleep. You don't know what medications you're taking. Her tone wasn't judgmental, just curious. Paul handles all that. He knows what the doctors prescribed. He makes sure I take the right doses at the right times. She wrote something down. And I got the sense it was something important, but I didn't know what. We talked more about my week. I told her about a bruise I'd found on my ribs that morning, how I'd stood in front of the bathroom mirror trying to remember how it got there and coming up completely blank. How terrifying it was to not know how your own body got injured. "Can I see it?" Dr. Brooks asked. I hesitated. "It's under my shirt." "That's okay. You don't have to. Show me if you're not comfortable." But something about the way she said it made me feel like maybe I should, like maybe it was important. So, I lifted the bottom of my turtleneck slightly, revealing the bruise on my left side. It was dark purple, about the size of a fist and tender as hell. Dr. Brooks leaned forward to look, and her expression changed just slightly, but I saw it. "Grace, you're wearing a turtleneck," she said, sitting back. "It's 95 degrees outside." "I run cold," I said. Automatically. It's what I always said when people asked. "And I've noticed you favor your left side when you sit down. Like it hurts." I didn't know what to say to that. It did hurt. Everything hurt. Lately. Dr. Brooks set down her notepad. And when she looked at me, her expression was different than it had been in our previous sessions. More intense, more focused. "Grace, I need to ask you something and I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" My heart started pounding. "Okay. I need you to roll up your sleeves for me. Both of them." Time seemed to stop. I don't know why that simple request filled me with such sudden, overwhelming dread. But it did. My hands started shaking. "Why?" I asked. "Please," she said gently. "Just humor me." I looked down at my arms covered by the thick cotton of my turtleneck. I couldn't remember the last time I'd worn short sleeves. When had that started? Why had I stopped wearing short sleeves? Slowly, my hands trembling, I pushed up my left sleeve, then my right. The room went completely silent. My forearms were covered in bruises. Fresh ones in deep purple. Older ones in yellow and green. They weren't random. They had patterns, shapes. On my right forearm, you could clearly see what looked like 4 fingers and a thumb, like someone had grabbed me and squeezed hard. On my left arm, there were multiple grab marks at different stages of healing. My upper arms, when I pushed the sleeves up further, were worse, bruises on top of bruises. I stared at my own arms like they belonged to someone else. I knew the bruises were there. I'd seen them when I showered, when I changed clothes. But seeing them laid out like this in the bright light of Dr. Brooks's office, seeing them reflected in her horrified expression, it was different. It made them real in a way they hadn't been before. "Oh, Grace," Dr. Brooks breathed. "I don't remember how I got them," I said quickly, defensive. "Paul says I hurt myself during episodes. He has to restrain me sometimes to keep me from stop." Dr. Brooks's voice was sharp, and it cut through my automatic explanation. She stood up, walked closer, knelt down in front of me, so she was at eye level. "Grace, look at me. Really, look at me." I met her eyes and what I saw there made something crack inside my chest. "These are not self-inflicted injuries," she said, her voice steady and certain. "These are defensive wounds. Do you understand what that means? Someone has been grabbing you forcefully, repeatedly. These are restraint marks, Grace. Someone has been physically restraining you." "No." I shook my head. "No." Paul explained. "What medication are you taking?" she interrupted. "Tell me exactly what pills you take every day." "I don't know," I whispered. "Paul gives them to me. He manages." "Does he watch you take them?" "Yes, but he's just making sure I don't forget." "Do you ever see the pill bottles? Do you know what's prescribed to you?" I couldn't answer because no, I didn't see the bottles. Paul kept them in his office. Brought me the pills each morning. I'd never questioned it because he was helping me. He was taking care of me. He loved me. Grace listened to me very carefully. Dr. Brooks took my hands and hers were warm and steady and real. "The bruising pattern on your arms. The memory gaps that have been getting progressively worse, the drowsiness and confusion, the fact that your husband controls all your medications and you don't even know what you're taking. Do you understand what I'm suggesting?" "No." But I did. I could feel the understanding creeping in like ice water in my veins. "I don't think you're mentally ill," Dr. Brooks said. "I think your husband is hurting you and making you believe you're crazy." The world tilted. Everything I thought I knew, everything I believed about my life, my marriage, myself, all of it shifted violently sideways. "He wouldn't," I said. But my voice sounded hollow, even to my own ears. "He loves me. He's taking care of me. Everyone says." "What does everyone say?" Dr. Brooks asked gently. "That I'm sick. That I'm confused. That I need help." The words came out like a confession. "And who told everyone that?" The ice water was spreading now, filling my entire chest cavity. "Paul. Before you started having these memory problems, were you sick? Did you have any health issues?" "No, I was fine. I got promoted at work." And then I stopped, stared at her. I fell down the stairs. "Did you fall, Grace, or is that what you were told happened?" I tried to remember that morning. Tried to remember the actual fall, but there was nothing there. Just waking up at the bottom of the stairs with Paul hovering over me, and then the hospital, and then everything spiraling from there. "I don't know," I whispered. "I don't remember." My phone buzzed in my purse. Then again and again. I pulled it out with shaking hands. 7 texts from Paul. All in the last 20 minutes. "Where are you? Your appointment should be over by now. Grace, answer me. Are you okay? I'm getting worried. You were supposed to be home an hour ago. This isn't like you. Are you having an episode?" Baby, please call me. I'm about to call Dr. Brooks's office. Dr. Brooks read the texts over my shoulder. How long was your appointment supposed to be? 50 minutes. Same as always. And how long have you been here? I checked my watch. 53 minutes. I'm 3 minutes late and he's already sent 7 texts. She looked at me. Grace, I need you to trust me. Do you trust me? Did I? I'd known this woman for 4 sessions, for hours of my life. But looking into her eyes right now, seeing the concern and certainty there, I realized I trusted her more than I trusted my own husband, more than I trusted my own mind. Yes, I said. I'm going to make some phone calls. This is going to move fast and it's going to be scary, but I need you to stay with me. Can you do that? What are you going to do? She picked up her office phone. I'm calling a colleague, and then I'm calling someone else. We're going to get you help, Grace. Real help. The first call was to someone she called James. I have a client here presenting with defensive pattern bruising, severe memory impairment, possible chemical sedation, and systematic isolation. I need a toxicology screen consultation immediately. Chemical sedation. The words hung in the air like smoke. The second call made my stomach drop. Detective Barnes, it's Evelyn Brooks. I need you to come to my office now. I have a client who I believe is being actively abused and drugged by her spouse. Wait, I said, panic rising in my throat. Wait, I didn't say. Dr. Brooks held up a hand. Listen to whoever was on the other end. Yes, she's safe with me right now, but he's been texting repeatedly. We need to move quickly. She hung up and pulled her chair close to mine again. Grace, I know. This is terrifying. I know your whole world just got turned upside down, but we need to get you to a hospital for blood work, before you go home. Before you take any more of whatever Paul has been giving you. Do you understand? He'll be so angry if I don't come home, I heard myself say. He's already worried. He'll think I'm having an episode. You're not having an episode. You're waking up. And yes, he's going to be angry because you're not playing your role anymore. You're not the confused, sick wife he can control. That's going to make him very angry. My phone rang. Paul. Dr. Brooks looked at me. You don't have to answer it. But I did. Some part of me still couldn't imagine not answering when Paul called. I pressed the button. Grace, baby, where are you? I've been trying to reach you. I'm still at Dr. Brooks's, I said, and my voice sounded strange. Distant. Your appointment ended almost half an hour ago. Are you okay? Did something happen? Is Dr. Brooks there? Let me talk to her. I'm fine, Paul. We're running late. I'm coming to get you. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. It wasn't a request. No, I said. The word felt foreign in my mouth. No, I'll drive myself home. Grace, you shouldn't be driving when you're confused. Just wait. There. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Dr. Brooks gently took the phone from my hand. Mr. Carter, this is Dr. Brooks. Grace is going to be late getting home this evening. She's safe, and I'll make sure she gets where she needs to go. I couldn't hear his response, but I could imagine it. The concern, the worry, the barely concealed control wrapped up in care. She'll call you later. Goodbye. Dr. Brooks ended the call and looked at me. We need to leave now. My car or yours? What about Paul? He's going to. He's going to what, Grace? What is he going to do? I couldn't answer that because I didn't know. And that uncertainty, that fear of Paul might do, was maybe the most telling thing of all. Dr. Brooks drove me to Roper Hospital ER herself. She wouldn't let me drive, wouldn't let me go alone. My phone kept ringing. Paul. Paul, Paul. Each time I didn't answer, he'd leave a voicemail. I listened to the first one. Baby, I don't understand what's happening. Dr. Brooks won't let me talk to you. This isn't right. You need to come home. You need your medications. Please call me back. I'm worried sick about you. Dr. Brooks glanced at me. Do you hear it? That's not concern. That's control. At the hospital, a detective was already waiting. She introduced herself as Detective Olivia Price, mid-40s, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. A hospital social worker joined us. Then a doctor. Dr. Brooks had called the toxicologist, Dr. James Chin. They took me to a private room, asked permission to photograph my bruises. I nodded, numb, as they documented every single mark on my body. I had to strip down to my underwear, and the photographer, a woman, thank God, took pictures from every angle. My arms, my ribs, my back, my thighs. She counted 23 distinct bruises in various stages of healing. 23. These are restraint marks, she said quietly, pointing to the fingerprint-shaped bruises on my arms. And these, indicating bruises on my ribs, are consistent with impact injuries, like being shoved against something hard. I couldn't process it. Couldn't reconcile what she was saying with my reality. Paul loved me. Paul was taking care of me. They drew my blood. Vial after vial, labeled and logged. Dr. Chen explained they were testing for everything: benzodiazepines, sedatives, hypnotics, anything that might explain my symptoms. How long will results take? I asked. I'm putting a rush on it. We'll have preliminary results in a few hours. Detective Price sat with me while we waited, asked careful questions about my relationship, my marriage, my health issues. I answered robotically, still not fully believing any of this was real. Does your husband have a history of controlling behavior? She asked. He's protective, I said. But that's because he loves me. Abusers often frame their control as protection, she said gently. Does he control your finances? I thought about that. When had Paul taken over our banking? He manages our accounts. He says it's easier with just one person handling it. Does he control who you see, where you go? No, but wait. When was the last time I'd seen Jasmine without Paul there? When was the last time I'd gone anywhere alone? I've been sick. He's been helping me. Has he ever physically hurt you? No. I mean, the bruises, but those are from my episodes. He's trying to keep me safe. When I stopped. Listened to myself. Heard what I was saying. He's trying to keep me safe by grabbing me hard enough to leave bruises, by restraining me so forcefully that I have defensive wounds up and down my arms. Oh God, I whispered. Oh my God. Detective Price leaned forward. What are you remembering? But I wasn't remembering anything. That was the problem. I had no memories of being restrained, of being hurt, of any of it. Just blank spaces where trauma should be. Nothing, I said. I don't remember anything. What if I really am crazy? What if I'm making this all up and Paul really is just trying to help me? And I'm ruining everything? Grace, Dr. Brooks, who'd been standing by the door, came over. That's the abuse talking. He's trained you to doubt yourself, to question your own reality. That's what gaslighting is. But I don't remember him hurting me. Because he was drugging you, Detective Price said. If our suspicions are correct, he was giving you high doses of sedatives that caused amnesia. You couldn't remember the abuse because he was chemically blocking your ability to form memories. The room spun. I thought I might throw up. 2 hours later, Dr. Chin came back with preliminary results. He sat down across from me, his expression grim. Grace, your blood shows extremely elevated levels of benzodiazepines, specifically a combination of alprazolam and diazepam. The levels we're seeing are approximately 3 times higher than any therapeutic dose. What does that mean? I asked, even though I already knew. It means you've been heavily sedated. These medications at these doses would cause exactly the symptoms you've been experiencing. Drowsiness, confusion, memory gaps, difficulty concentrating. They would also make you more susceptible to suggestion and less likely to question what you're being told. But I have prescriptions, I said weakly. Paul said the doctors prescribed them. Do you remember seeing a doctor who prescribed them? I tried to think back. Couldn't remember any specific appointment. Paul handles all my medical appointments, I said. We checked. Detective Price interrupted. We called your primary care physician. You haven't been in to see her in over 2 years. There are no prescriptions for benzodiazepines in your name. The room tilted again. That's not possible. Your husband has been giving you unprescribed sedatives, Dr. Chin said. High doses. Enough to keep you confused, compliant, and unable to form clear memories. Detective Price opened a folder. Grace, I need to ask you something. Do you consent to us executing a search warrant on your home? A search warrant? Why? Because if our suspicions are correct, there's evidence in your house, the medications he's been giving you. Possibly cameras or recording devices, documentation of his abuse. We need to secure that evidence before he has a chance to destroy it. I need to call him, I said suddenly. He's been calling. And calling. He'll be so worried. He's not worried, Detective Price said. Bluntly. He's panicking because he's losing control of you. Grace, based on what we've found so far, I'm obtaining an emergency protective order. You're not going home tonight. You're not safe there. Where am I supposed to go? Dr. Brooks spoke up. You're coming home. With me, just for tonight, until we can get you somewhere more permanent. You're not going to be alone. Everything was moving so fast. Too fast. A few hours ago, I was just Grace, sick and confused and trying to get better. Now I was apparently a domestic violence victim whose husband had been systematically drugging and abusing her. I don't understand, I whispered. If he was hurting me, why can't I remember? Why would he do this? Control, Detective Price said simply. He got off on having complete control over you, over your mind, your body, your reality. Men like him don't see their partners as people. They see them as possessions. My phone rang again. Paul. They all looked at me. Don't answer it, Dr. Brooks said. You don't owe him anything. But some sick part of me still felt like I did. Still felt like I needed to explain, to reassure him, to make sure he wasn't worried about me. That's how deep the manipulation went. Even knowing what I now knew, I still felt responsible for his feelings. I let it go to voicemail. That night, while I stayed at Dr. Brooks's house in her guest room, medicated for anxiety by an actual doctor who explained exactly what she was giving me and why, police executed a search warrant on my home. Detective Price called me at midnight with what they found. Grace, I need you to sit down for this. I was all ready. Sitting, curled up in Dr. Brooks's guest bed, but I gripped the phone tighter. We found hidden cameras in every room of your house, except his office. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, everywhere. My stomach turned. He was watching me constantly. We also found his documentation system. He had logs, Grace, detailed logs of everything you did, everything you ate, who you talked to, where you went, what time you woke up, what time you went to sleep. He was monitoring you like a science experiment. Oh God. We found a pill crusher in his office with residue that matches the benzodiazepines in your system. We found a burner phone with internet searches, Grace. He was researching how to cause amnesia. How to make someone appear mentally incompetent. How to convince people someone is having delusions. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. There's more. We found syringes and injectable sedatives hidden in his office safe, for when the pills weren't enough, I'm guessing. And Grace, we found your journal. My journal? You'd been documenting everything months ago, before the drugging got really bad. You wrote about suspecting him of moving your things, of lying to your friends about you, of isolating you. You were keeping track. He found it and hid it instead of destroying it. I think he liked having proof of how close you came to figuring it out before he shut you down. Completely. I was crying now. Ugly sobbing tears. I tried to figure it out. I tried. You did. And he stopped you. He escalated the drugging, increased the isolation, made sure you couldn't trust your own mind anymore. Detective Price paused. We arrested him 2 hours ago at his office in front of all his colleagues. That should have felt good. Should have felt like justice. But all I felt was numb. What happens now? Now we build a case. The evidence we have is substantial: the cameras, the documentation, the drugs, his search history, your medical records showing the elevated drug levels, the bruising photographs, the testimony from Dr. Brooks. We're also reaching out to his ex-wife. I have a feeling you're not the first woman he's done this to. She was right. Within 3 days, Paul's first wife came forward. Her name was Amanda, and her story was horrifyingly similar to mine: the mental health crisis during their marriage, the memory problems, the isolation from friends and family. She'd left him, but never pressed charges because he'd convinced her, and everyone else, that she was unstable. Hearing her story, hearing my own trauma reflected back at me from another woman's mouth, made it finally, horribly real. The detox was brutal. Getting the benzodiazepines out of my system took 2 weeks of medical supervision. I stayed with Dr. Brooks the whole time, and I will never be able to repay her for that kindness. The withdrawal was hell: shaking, nausea, panic attacks, insomnia that left me staring at the ceiling for hours. But Dr. Brooks sat with me through all of it. And as the drugs cleared from my system, the memories started coming back. Not all at once, in fragments, in nightmares, in sudden visceral flashes that would leave me gasping. I Remembered fighting back. Remembered him grabbing my arms, his fingers digging into my flesh, yanking me backward when I tried to leave. "You're not going anywhere," he'd hissed. "You're sick. Remember? You need me." I remembered trying to refuse the pills. Remembered him forcing my mouth open, holding my jaw, pouring water down my throat until I had to swallow or choke. "It's for your own good, baby. You need your medication." I remembered waking up one night to a sharp pain in my thigh. Opening my eyes to see him standing over me with a syringe. "Shoo. Just go back to sleep. You were having an episode." I remembered screaming. Remembered him clamping his hand over my mouth. "The neighbors will think you're crazy if you keep screaming. Is that what you want? You want everyone to know how sick you are?" Each memory that surfaced was like reliving the trauma all over again. But Dr. Brooks helped me understand that the memories returning was actually healing. My brain was finally free to process what had been done to me. She also helped me understand the full scope of what Paul had done. It wasn't just abuse. It was systematic destruction of my identity, my autonomy, my reality. He'd taken everything from me, my career, my friendships, my relationship with my family, my trust in my own mind. And he'd done it so carefully, so methodically that everyone believed I was just sick. Even I believed I was just sick. That's the worst part. Even now, sometimes I catch myself wondering if I overreacted, if maybe I really was sick and Paul was trying to help in his own misguided way. That's how deep the programming goes. He spent over a year training me to doubt myself. And that kind of psychological manipulation doesn't just disappear because you know the truth now. The legal proceedings took months. Paul's company fired him immediately. The publicity alone was enough to destroy his reputation. His colleagues, the ones who'd respected him, who'd thought he was one of the good guys, they all turned on him. Turns out, nobody wants to be associated with a man who drugs his wife and films her without consent. The trial lasted 3 weeks. I had to sit there and watch them play footage from the cameras he'd hidden in our house. Had to watch myself on those tapes, confused and disoriented, stumbling around our home like a stranger. Had to watch him checking the cameras from his phone at work, monitoring me throughout the day. They played audio of him medicating me, of me begging him to tell me what was wrong with me, of him calmly, lovingly telling me I was sick and he was helping me. "You're safe with me, baby. I'll always take care of you." The prosecutor called him a predator. Said he'd gotten off on having complete control over another human being, that he'd enjoyed watching me deteriorate. Enjoyed the power of being the only person who knew the truth. The defense tried to argue that he was trying to help me, that he truly believed I was mentally ill and was doing his best to care for me, but the evidence was too damning. The research on his computer about inducing amnesia, the burner phone, the unprescribed medications, the hidden cameras. You don't do those things if you're trying to help someone. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts: domestic battery, false imprisonment, assault, administering drugs without consent, criminal surveillance. 12 years in prison. I didn't feel victorious when they read the verdict. I just felt tired. The civil suit awarded me his pension and $750,000. My lawyer said I deserved every penny for what he put me through. I'm not sure any amount of money could compensate for what he took from me, but it meant I could start over without financial worry. Rebuilding my life has been the hardest thing I've ever done. I had to reconnect with my mother, who was devastated by guilt. "I should have believed you," she kept saying. I should have questioned him. I had to forgive her. Even though part of me is still angry that she believed him over me, but I understand he was that convincing. I had to rebuild my friendship with Jasmine. That took time. She felt horrible about believing I'd accused her of stealing, about not questioning Paul more, about not seeing the signs. We're close again now. But there's this shadow over our friendship that wasn't there before. This knowledge that when I really needed her, she believed him instead of me. I had to face my branch manager, my colleagues, everyone at the library who thought I was having a mental breakdown. I had to explain what had really been happening. Some people were supportive. Others were uncomfortable, like they didn't want to acknowledge how badly they'd failed me. I didn't go back to that library. Couldn't. Too many memories of being sick and confused and not knowing why. I spent 8 months in intensive therapy with Dr. Brooks. She helped me understand what coercive control is, how it works, why I couldn't see it happening. She helped me relearn how to trust my own perceptions, my own memories, my own mind. That was the hardest part. Learning to trust myself again. For months, I second-guessed everything. Did I really want coffee, or was I just confused? Did that really happen, or am I making it up? Is my memory of this conversation accurate, or am I having an episode? Dr. Brooks would gently remind me, "You're not having episodes. You never were. He made you believe that to control you. Your mind is working exactly as it should." It took a long time to believe that. I became certified as a domestic violence counselor. Took courses, did training, learned all the official terms for what I'd experienced: coercive control, medical gaslighting, chemical restraint, intimate partner violence. I learned that what Paul did to me is more common than I ever imagined, that thousands of women are going through similar situations right now, being told they're crazy when they're actually being abused. I volunteer now with an organization that helps women leave coercive control situations. I talk to women who call the hotline and describe symptoms that sound eerily familiar: memory problems, unexplained bruises, partners who help by controlling their medications, families who believe they're mentally ill. I help them see what I couldn't see. I wrote a victim impact statement that was so detailed, so clear about the mechanisms of coercive control, that it was used to help pass new legislation in South Carolina. Now there are better protections for victims, better training for doctors and therapists to recognize the signs, harsher penalties for people who use drugs to control their partners. If my experience can help protect even one other woman from what I went through, then maybe it was worth it. I'm dating someone new now. His name is Marcus. Wait. No, that's not right. His name is Anthony. He's patient and kind and understands when I have bad days, when I need to check in frequently because I'm still learning to trust. When I need reassurance that he's not secretly controlling me, not watching me, not drugging me. Therapy helped me understand that I might always have trauma responses. That Anthony asking where I am isn't the same as Paul demanding to know my every move. That Anthony offering to pick up my prescription isn't the same as Paul controlling all my medications. But my brain sometimes struggles to tell the difference. Anthony is patient with that. He gives me access to his phone, tells me his passwords, makes sure I always know exactly what I'm taking if I'm ever sick, and he's helping. He does it without me even asking because Dr. Brooks helped him understand what I need to feel safe. I'm still in therapy. Probably will be for a long time. Some weeks I'm fine, functioning, thriving even. Other weeks I have nightmares about being trapped in my own house. About Paul standing over me with pills, about waking up and not knowing if my memories are real. It's been 2 years now since that Tuesday afternoon when Dr. Brooks asked me to roll up my sleeves. 2 years since my world cracked open and I learned the truth. Paul has 10 years left on his sentence. I have a permanent no-contact order. I've moved to a different part of Charleston, changed my phone number, made sure he can never find me again. Sometimes I still look over my shoulder in parking lots. Still check my rear view mirror obsessively. Still feel a spike of panic when someone walks too close behind me. Dr. Brooks says that's normal. That I was held captive in my own life for over a year, and it's going to take time for my nervous system to understand that I'm safe now. But I am safe now. I'm free. I can trust my own mind again. I know what I'm taking, where I'm going, who I'm seeing. I make my own decisions. I control my own life. Some days I'm angry, furious at Paul for what he did, at my mother for believing him, at my friends for abandoning me, at the doctors who never questioned why a previously healthy woman suddenly had severe memory problems, at myself for not seeing it sooner. Other days, I'm just grateful. Grateful that Dr. Brooks saw the signs. Grateful that she was brave enough to act on her suspicions. Grateful that I'm still here, still alive, still me. Because it could have gone differently. It could have gone so much worse. He could have killed me, and everyone would have thought it was an accident, a confused woman who fell down the stairs again, who took too many pills, who had a tragic episode. He almost destroyed me completely. And I wouldn't have even known I was being destroyed. But I survived. And now I help other women survive, too. I work at a different public library now as a librarian again. I'm good at my job. I help patrons, especially young adults, recognize unhealthy relationships, help them understand what control and manipulation look like. I tell them, if someone makes you doubt your own reality, that's not love. If someone isolates you from the people who care about you, that's not protection. If someone controls your access to information, to money, to healthcare, to other people, that's not care. That's abuse. And I tell them that sometimes the most dangerous abusers are the ones who seem the most loving, the most concerned, the most respectable, the ones everyone believes, the ones who convince everyone else that you're the problem. Those are the ones you have to watch out for. So, let me tell you what I wish someone had told me 3 years ago, what I wish I'd known before I married Paul, before I fell down those stairs, before I let him take control of my medications and my life. If you have unexplained injuries that you can't remember getting, that's not normal. If you have memory gaps that are getting worse, especially if someone else is managing your medications, that's a red flag. If people in your life suddenly believe you're mentally unstable, and the only source of that information is your partner, that's manipulation. If your partner documents all your episodes, but you don't remember them happening, that's gaslighting. If you're isolated from friends and family, if you've lost your independence. If you can't remember the last time you made a decision without your partner's input or approval. If you're constantly confused and doubting yourself and feeling like you're losing your mind. You might not be sick. You might be being abused. Trust your instincts. Even when everyone else is telling you you're wrong. Even when your own memories seem unreliable. Even when the person hurting you seems loving and concerned and helpful. Trust that deep down feeling that something isn't right. I almost lost everything because I didn't trust that feeling. Because I let Paul convince me that my instincts were just symptoms of my illness. Because I believed him when he said he was helping me. He wasn't helping me. He was destroying me, slowly, carefully, systematically. But I survived. And if you're going through something similar right now, if any of this sounds familiar, if you're reading this and thinking, that's happening to me, you can survive, too. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE-7233. Tell a doctor when you're alone. Tell a therapist. Tell someone who isn't connected to your partner, someone who can see the situation objectively. Document everything you can. Hide copies somewhere your partner can't find them, your phone, if you can keep it private, a friend's house, a work email, somewhere safe. And if someone you trust, especially a medical professional, tells you they're concerned about your safety, listen to them. Even if you don't believe it yourself. Even if you think your partner loves you and is trying to help, listen to them. Dr. Brooks saved my life because she recognized signs I couldn't see. Because she was trained to spot coercive control. Because she cared enough to act on her suspicions, even though it meant going against what I believed about my own life. If you're in this situation, you need your own Dr. Brooks. Someone who will see the truth when you can't. And if you're a doctor, a therapist, a counselor, anyone who works with people, learn the signs. Learn what coercive control looks like. Learn the difference between a patient with legitimate mental health issues and a patient who's being systematically abused and gaslit. The bruises aren't always visible. The control isn't always obvious. Sometimes, the most dangerous abuse is the kind that looks like care. I'm Grace Miller. I'm 44 years old now. I'm a librarian, a domestic violence counselor, a survivor, and an advocate. I help women recognize what I couldn't. I help them escape what almost killed me. Paul took 1.5 years of my life. He took my sense of self, my career stability, my peace of mind, my trust in my own reality. He took my relationship with my mother, my friendship with Jasmine, my reputation in my community. He left me with trauma that I'll probably carry for the rest of my life. But he didn't win. I got out. I got help. I got justice. And now I help other women do the same. If this story resonated with you, if any part of it sounds familiar, please don't ignore it. Please reach out to someone. You deserve to be believed. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to trust your own mind. Your confusion isn't mental illness. Your instincts aren't symptoms. Your reality is valid. Even when someone you love is trying to convince you otherwise. I know because I lived it. I survived it, and you can too. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for being here. And if you're in danger right now, if you're scared, if you don't know who to trust, trust yourself. Your fear is telling you something important. Listen to it. Get out. Get safe. Get help. You're not crazy. You never were. I promise.